Speaker. Last year's IPCC report couldn't have been any clearer that we have just 12 years in order to take real action. That's not 12 years to debate about whether or not we need to take action, but 12 years to actually come up and implement policies that dramatically cut down our carbon emissions and change how we as individuals live our lives. And that needs to start today. We need to heed the advice of experts. It's not really fashionable these days, but Dr. Dmitry Yumashev of Lancaster University recently published research showing the potential $70 trillion cost if we fail to take action and meet our targets. Now, we simply can't afford, either financially or otherwise, to continue down the same route that we have been on. I want to talk briefly, Madam Deputy Speaker, about young people, because I'm proud that the Labour-led Lancaster City Council has already declared a climate emergency and was one of the first councils to do so. But that was led by our young activists across the Lancaster district. And I do want to briefly pay tribute to Councillor Amara Betts-Patel, Councillor Oliver Robinson, Peter Carthy, Hadi Malik and Dan Chester, to name but a few of the young people who are calling on their council to do more and to put forward bold policies to tackle this crisis. And the onus is on us now in this House to listen to the words of the young activists up and down the country and globally and put climate change at the forefront of everything that we do. To touch briefly on travel, it's clear that we need to do more about how we travel about our communities. We need to make the switches to public transport, but in Fleetwood it could be more evident how far away we are from that to have that sustainable transport policy. Every morning, hundreds of my constituents will get into their cars and they'll drive down the A585 to access jobs and access education. But if they were given a reliable low-carbon alternative, I know many would ditch the cars and jump on public transport. So the government really does need to get serious about investing in sustainable transport for communities like Fleetwood so that people can make that switch to public transport. And that means urgently rebalancing our transport spending towards communities like Fleetwood and in the north-west of England, bringing back into use those disused rail lines that were cut under beaching, and making sure that people have that chance to use greener alternatives to the car. Harnessing the power of wind and water, of course, has huge potential to transform Lancashire into a true energy coast. Hydro, wind and solar energy industries have the potential of providing thousands of skilled, highly paid jobs which will transform the employment prospects for our young people whilst providing for our energy needs. And the beginnings of this green economy are already visible in Fleetwood. And I recently visited 4 Navitas, which is building vertical access wind turbines, and it was set up and run by Fleetwood entrepreneurs Paul Cook and Marcus Stefani. And other Fleetwood entrepreneurs have been pursuing plans to construct a hydro barrage across the River Wyre, which again has huge potential to transform the town. But sadly, this government continues to ignore the potential for this new green economy and perseveres in damaging and unwanted policies, like, for instance, fracking. The people of Lancashire said no to fracking. It is not compatible with meeting our climate change objectives, and it is time this government woke up and called to ban fracking in this country, like the Labour Party has already done. Now, this government needs to lead the charge for a sustainable future, but that doesn't mean that individuals and communities can't take a stand themselves. And I was pleased to support the Extinction Rebellion activists in Lancaster last week. They were demonstrating for a need to change the way we live our lives and standing up for a green future. And part of that future needs to be about making sustainable choices about how we live and also what we eat. Most scientists now agree that if we need to eat significantly less meat in order to tackle climate change, and we need to recognise the real damage that intensively farmed meat is having on the ecosystems of developing nations. I believe that only a Labour government which places the environment at the front and centre of government policy and ushers in this green industrial revolution will succeed in halting the slide to environmental chaos, and future generations will not forgive us if we do not take this opportunity for positive action, and we owe it to our children to seize this opportunity and to vote today to declare a climate emergency.
Philip Dunn.
Yes.